Mike here from Bikes by Mike with another cycling related video. Today is Maintenance Thursday. I'm diving deep into the world of Shimano Di2 and dialing in that perfect, silent, and instantaneous shift. The micro adjustment feature is one of the most powerful features with Di2, and I'm going to walk you through how to do it. Okay, let's get to it. In today's video, I'll start off by explaining the 5 most likely causes of poor shifting and the things you need to rule out first before going anywhere near your Di2. After ruling out all those potential mechanical problems, I'll then show you 2 ways to micro adjust your Di2. The first method is an on-bike only adjustment, and the second way is using Shimano's eTube app. Let's dive in. Before we even think about touching those Di2 micro adjustment buttons, we need to look at the most probable causes of poor shifting, because I see it all the time in comments and forums. People chasing a shifting problem by endlessly tweaking their Di2, when the real culprit has nothing to do with electronics at all. So in this first part of my video, I'll run through the 5 most common mechanical issues that masquerade as a Di2 problem. Rule these out first and you'll not only save yourself a massive headache, but you'll also understand your bike that much better. Let's get into it. First up, and this might seem obvious, is a dirty or dry drivetrain. If your drivetrain looks gunked up, it doesn't matter if you have Di2, Campy EPS, or SRAM access. It's going to shift poorly. All this grime builds up on the cassette teeth, in between the links of your chain, and especially on the pulley wheels. This gunk creates friction and physically prevents the chain from moving smoothly and settling onto the next cog. And a dry, unlubricated chain is just as bad. The links can't articulate properly, leading to slow, noisy shifts. How to spot it? A quick visual check is all you need. If it's black and sticky, it's dirty. If you hear squeaking or a dry grinding noise when you pedal, your chain needs lube. Why fix it? Besides terrible shifting performance, this grime is like liquid sandpaper. It will prematurely wear out your very expensive drivetrain components. A 15-minute clean and lube job can save you hundreds of dollars down the road. So before you do anything else, give it a proper cleaning. All right, suspect number 2 is a sneaky one that can happen to anyone. The wheel isn't seated correctly in the dropouts. This can happen on either the front or the rear wheel. With the through-axle system, it's less common, but you can still mess it up if you're in a hurry. With an older quick-release skewer, it's even easier to get it wrong. If the axle isn't sitting perfectly and symmetrically in the dropouts on both sides, the wheel won't spin properly. This is a 10-second check. Simply open your quick release, let the bike's weight settle the week fully into the dropouts, and then retighten it to the manufacturer's specification. A quick fix for what can feel like a major problem. If it's the rear wheel that hasn't seated properly, you will have created an additional shifting problem. Your Di2 derailleur is indexed to move to an exact spot, but if the cassette isn't where it's supposed to be, the shift will be hesitant, noisy, or it might not happen at all. Okay, suspect number 3, good old-fashioned wear and tear. Your drivetrain parts are consumables. They wear out in a pretty predictable order. First to go is almost always the chain, followed by the rear cassette. Now, the often forgotten drivetrain parts, the pulley wheels on your derailleur and your front chain rings. They typically last longest, but they do wear out eventually, so make sure all these parts are in good working order. Here's the cause that often gets overlooked. I've personally spent way too long trying to diagnose a shifting issue, only to find out that this was the problem, a loose cassette. How to spot it? It's a simple test. With the wheel on the bike, grab the largest cogs on your cassette and try to wiggle them from side to side. There should be zero play. If you feel any movement at all, your lock ring has likely come loose. The fix is to pull the wheel off and using a cassette lock ring tool and a wrench, retorque it to the manufacturer's spec, which is usually around 40 Newton meters of force. And now we come to the big culprit, the number 1 most likely cause of poor shifting performance on any bike, electronic or mechanical, the bent derailleur hanger. Something you'll probably find on over half the bikes out there. This little piece of metal is designed to be the weak link. It bends or breaks in a crash to save your much more expensive derailleur and frame. But it doesn't take a major crash to bend one. Your bike falling over in the garage, leaning against a curb, or even just getting bumped in a group ride can be enough to knock it slightly out of alignment. You'll know the hanger is perfectly aligned when the pulley wheels are sitting directly underneath the cog which the chain is on. If it looks slightly tweaked inwards or outwards, your derailleur hanger is bent and needs straightening. It's worth noting that for those of you on the latest bikes with a SRAM UDH or universal derailleur hanger, this is not likely to be an issue. That system is incredibly robust and the whole system is anchored to the rear axle, so it's very unlikely to bend. But for most of us who are still using standard hangers, this is public enemy number one for shifting problems. Now, I put this last one on my list for a reason. While it's the most common problem, diagnosing and fixing it properly requires a special tool that many of you may not have at home, a derailleur hanger alignment gauge. But if your hanger is bent, there's no way around it. It needs to be fixed and you need to get your hands on the proper tool for the repair. No amount of electronic micro-adjusting will ever fix it. You might get it shift perfectly in a few gears, but it'll be terrible at either the top or the bottom end of the cassette. You're trying to line a straight chain onto a crooked path. It's just not going to work. Alright, so if you've ruled out all 5 of these mechanical problems and you still have poor shifting, it's quite possible that your Di2 needs micro-adjusting. Let me show you 2 ways of fine-tuning your Shimano Di2 for that buttery smooth shift. The first method I'll show you is making micro adjustments to your Di2 shifting using only your bike. So you do not need the eTube Cyclist app for this. And for that reason, this is my preferred way of adjusting shifting. Now I'm demoing this process on a Shimano 12-speed dura-ace group set. To make matters a bit confusing, there are slight differences between some other versions of Di2. Specifically as it relates to the location of the function button, the LED colors used, how long you need to press the function button, and the number of micro back shifts needed to reach your target alignment. I've created this nifty chart which shows you where the process differs amongst the various Di2 models. Let's take one example. You can see that my function button is located on the rear derailleur, while for 11-speed versions it's located on a junction box. On my Di2, the LED lights up as yellow when in adjustment mode, but shows up solid red on older 11-speed versions. There's also a difference between models in the number of back shifts you need to hit your target alignment. So be aware, there are some subtle differences between different versions of Di2. Locate your model and modify my process as needed. Step 1. Place your bike on a repair stand. It's really difficult to make this adjustment without one, as you need to be able to turn your cranks and make gear shifts to get this done right. So if you don't have a repair stand, get one, even if it's crap. You'll use it for so many repairs. Step 2. Next, shift your chain to the 5th gear for the largest sprocket on your rear cassette. This is important as you want to establish a straight chain line. Now make sure your front derailleur is shifted to the smallest chainring. As you can see, this gives you a really straight chain line when viewed directly from the back of the bike. Step 3. Press and hold the function button for 2 to 5 seconds until the LED switches from blue to yellow. The yellow LED indicates that the system is in adjustment mode. Now we'll need to use the shift switch X located right here. While turning the cranks, make single presses of this shifter, which will cause your rear derailleur to move one small step on each press towards the largest sprocket. Keep making small gear shifts and then stop as soon as you hear the chain rubbing against the 4th largest sprocket. Now we want to use shift switch Y located here. Press this lever exactly 5 times, which will move the derailleur back towards the 5th sprocket in exactly 5 steps. This will be your target alignment for perfect shifting. When viewed from the back, your pulley wheels should be centered below the 5th sprocket. Now press and hold the function button for 0.5 seconds or more to return the Di2 to regular mode. The LED will light up green when it is back in riding mode. You'll also see a blue LED light which corresponds to your current shift mode. Solid blue is for manual, 2 blue flashes for semi-synchro shift, and 3 flashes for full synchro shift. Step 4. For our last step, you'll want to cycle through all your gears to make sure you're getting nice, clean shifts every time. If you aren't, repeat steps 2 and 3 I just mentioned. If you still aren't getting clean shifts, you likely have one of the other problems I spoke about earlier in this video. The second way to micro-adjust your shifting is by using the Shimano eTube smartphone app. This app is sometimes referred to by different names. The proper long version of the name is the eTube Project Cyclist app. But for most people, they refer to it just by eTube app or eTube Cyclist app. They all refer to the same thing, but if you hear the name eTube Ride app, that's something completely different. That's Shimano's smartphone bike computer app, so you don't want that. It's confusing, I know. Oh, and you don't want the eTube Project Professional app, as that's a Windows desktop version for dealers and bike shops. Okay, enough about all that. I'll stop there. To be able to use the app, you need to have Bluetooth enabled on your Di2 system. All 12-speed Di2 comes with Bluetooth enabled right out of the box, but older 10 and 11-speed generations do not. They require an aftermarket D-Fly dongle. Just like with Method 1, you want your bike mounted in a repair stand and your chain set to the 5th largest sprocket on the rear cassette and the small chain ring at the front. Now you want to put your Di2 into Bluetooth pairing mode by pressing and holding the function button for 0.5 to 2 seconds until the LED light flashes blue. Note that the LED will flash green and red on older 10 and 11 speed versions. Immediately open the eTube app on your phone and wait a few seconds for the app to recognize your Di2. If your phone isn't establishing a connection with your Di2, there are 2 fixes that usually work. First, make sure your phone is as close to your bike as possible. And second, this often works for me, I need to restart my phone to get it to connect to my Di2 properly. Now back to the app. The connection process will take a few seconds before you get a message that you're now connected, and the app will default to the Customize menu option. It may ask you whether you want to change your passkey. Just bypass this for now by hitting Later. Now select Maintenance at the top of the screen and then Rear Shifting further down. You'll see that the app recognizes that you are in the 5th largest cog. You are in the 5th largest cog, right? Now we'll follow the exact same micro-adjustment process we did in Method 1. But instead of using the shift levers, we'll be using this arrow in place of shift lever X and this arrow instead of shift lever Y. So while turning the cranks, start making your inbound single shifts using the arrow on the left. Keep making small gear shifts and then stop as soon as you hear the chain rubbing against the 4th largest sprocket. Pause between shifts to let the app catch up with you. Now, while still turning the cranks, press the right arrow 5 times to move the derailleur 5 steps outboard. This is your target alignment. Hit the complete button and then disconnect to drop the connection to the eTube app and place your Di2 back in normal riding mode. And just like before, you want to cycle through all your gears just to make sure the shifting is super smooth. And that's it for how you go about micro-adjusting your shifting on all versions of Shimano Di2. That's all I got for today, folks. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you're not a subscriber to this channel, please subscribe, as it allows me to produce more content for all of you. See you next time. Happy rolling.